Hey, welcome to this 3-day thyroid relief training. I'm excited to have you. This is going to be fun. My name's Dr. Stone. I'll explain who I am in just a second, but what we're going to do over the next 3 days is I'm going to give you the exact map, blueprint, the protocols that I've been using for the past 30 years. The protocols that we've used to help people get their lives back from thyroid disease. If your doctor told you that you can't reverse this, it's time for an update, an upgrade. Functional medicine has been doing it for decades, and Eastern medicine goes way back. But the science is modern. You can resolve this. So many patients over the years. Hey, I stopped taking my thyroid meds and I feel great. I was taught that it's not even a good idea to replace hormones. Your body naturally shut down energy production for some good reason, and I was taught that every adaptation your body makes is to increase the survivability of you. So kind of a low blow to replace a hormone when your body said this. So you can reverse this with the map that I was taught in functional medicine. Can you imagine if IKEA just gave you wood and screws without the blueprint, the map? You'd be lost, confused, frustrated. But with the blueprint, do this first and then next and then next. Anyone can do it. That's what we have with thyroid problems. We know what works and we know what doesn't. And in my opinion, thyroid is one of the most poorly managed conditions. Measure TSH, slap a label on you, replace the hormones. There, now you're fixed. But you don't feel fixed. They don't seem to have any interest in looking at the root cause, why it developed in the first place. And that's what I'm going to show you with this training. I'm going to spare you the case study after case study, testimonials, none of that matters. You want a result. You're here because you have an issue and you want to know the solution, the fastest way to get this fixed. That's what I'm going to provide for you today and tomorrow and the next day. No hype, no 3-day sales pitch. I'm going to give you actionable resources, tools, tips, and strategies, things that you can implement to get to that healing trend. Feeling better every week, bad days not as bad, and good days more and more often. So let me give you a quick background. I'm Dr. Stone, been in practice for 30 years, functional medicine and Eastern medicine. I went virtual about 3 years ago, giving me much greater reach and ability to help people who have really not been helped in the medical system using functional medicine. What is functional medicine? Basically, we dig, find, and work towards fixing the underlying root cause. The only thing I'm going to ask is that you keep an open mind, because sometimes you have to unlearn things that came from a limited or incomplete perspective. And absolutely, you will learn things that you have not heard from your MDs. I mean, you wouldn't accept the MD approach to your car. If the check engine light came on, you wouldn't cover the light. You would take it to a mechanic and find out why the light came on. Let's find the root cause of your problem. I'm looking for people who are determined to get their lives back, reversing this thyroid thing and feeling good again. You can gather more information here and take no action, but my goal is transformation, not information. So you have to add action. If you're not willing to take action on the principles that I teach, you're wasting your time. You're going to have to do some different things to get a different result. Beginning right here with the most basic map of health, the hierarchy of function. Pay close attention. Natural law is everywhere. So how the body works is how your life works. The top tier is inflammation. Level 2 is stress. Level 3 is thrive, energize, which is your thyroid and turning glucose into energy. Now watch, it's just like life. If you come home and your house is on fire, you suppress nourishment. Dinner is not what has your energy and attention. Same with the flooded basement. It's a stress. Dinner's gonna be late because we have to get it under control. Then nourishing and energizing. And last is reproduction. If you put out the fire, cleaned up the basement, finally had dinner, you might think about reproduction. Or not, because you're exhausted. Sleep so your body can repair, which is cellular reproduction. You might call that healing. So that's the blueprint that we have to use for your body. Inflammation suppresses thyroid. Stress suppresses thyroid. If you don't fix these, you can't even get to repairing your thyroid. Doesn't that make sense? Logical? Of course that's how your body works. That's how everything works. Today I'm going to cover inflammation, tomorrow is stress, and day 3 is the money day, energy and metabolism. But like all good things, you have to do the work to get to the fun. So inflammation. Do you know what inflammation is? Oh, diabetes is inflammatory. Some estimates say that 90% of thyroid problems are inflammatory. Do you know what that means? Inflammation is a hormone, just like stress, adrenaline, and cortisol. Inflammation hormones aren't as famous, Prostaglandins, those are the hormones that pain relievers suppress. And leukotrienes. You'll find drugs that block leukotrienes in the allergy section by the histamine blogging. So we're dealing with the interaction of all these hormones, and hormones communicate something. Insulin tells your cells to open up and fill up with glucose. Inflammation hormones call in immune cells for cleanup when something gets inside, like a splinter. We've all seen that inflammation. Swollen, red, tender. We've all had a bug get inside of us. Colds, flus. If it's a bad one, you might not get out of bed. I remember one time, I swear my hair hurt. Tired, swollen, tender. That's inflammation. Obvious inflammation. Not so obvious is low-grade inflammation from what we intentionally put into our body. You can actually measure systemic inflammation, C-reactive protein. Have you heard of it? It measures systemic inflammation, and it's associated with all the bad things. The higher this number, the more bad things that happen to your health. But there's no drug to sell, so most doctors don't even order it. C-reactive protein will go up from infections too, and there are quiet infections like H. pylori, the bacteria found in ulcers. We can also measure the complete blood count, CBC. The branches of the military are internal defense systems. If your total white blood cell count is high, that's an active infection. If it's low, that's a chronic infection and you're seeing your immune system depleted. The branches of the military respond to different problems, just like ours, Army, Navy, Air Force, Marines. Neutrophils point to bacteria, lymphocytes to virus, monocytes are toxicity, eosinophils are yeast or fungus, and basophils are protozoan or parasites, including worms. Yes, I've seen a few of those in my practice. Roundworms, hookworms. The patients that we found those in were really bad, barely functioning. But they had growing problems, getting worse for a long time. So it wasn't so bad when they first got it. So branches of the military gives us a pretty good idea of what might be the source of inflammation. If none are elevated, or even if they are, we should still consider the consumption of fats and oils. Prostaglandins, the hormone blocked by Advil, is made from fat. So if you eat the wrong fats, you make inflammatory prostaglandins and you generally feel swollen, tired, and tender. I can tell what you've been eating by touch. If you're eating junk food with the trans fats and the seed oils, every point is tender. And the actual tender points, we can barely touch. All in a continuum, of course. But one inflammatory lunch will show up on my table, even if you normally eat very healthy, which I would call whole foods 80% of the time. 20% processed flour and sugar, max. Food chemicals as close to zero as you can get. And really, bathroom, laundry, and kitchen chemicals as well. They all cause inflammation. And by avoiding them, you only lose brands. You can find every snack food in organic, chemical-free varieties. Same for soaps, lotions, etc. So to reduce systemic inflammation, you balance omega-3 oils with omega-6 oils. That means fish, flax, and walnuts has to equal grain, seed, and corn oils. We love our grains, breads, because they're so yummy. So just toss out seed oils and use butter, coconut oil, and olive oil. Get some turmeric and ginger to use in cooking, and make ginger tea. Strong ginger tea. One of my professors called it liquid Vioxx. Remember that super arthritis drug that caused so many heart attacks? But ginger is good for your heart. If you're clearly infected, like super high neutrophils, you'll need an herbalist to take a look. If you took my offer to review your labs, you have an herbalist looking, and I will give you specific recommendations. But I don't want to make a general recommendation here. You really have to look at the whole system. Where the infections might be, like kidneys, liver, or even heart. I saw that one time. Really high lymphocytes, virus, and super clear heart stress, LDH high. Here's how you can start in your kitchen though. I cleared one lady's parasite with oregano. Clove is a very strong antibiotic, as is garlic. Ginger and turmeric support inflammation and your immune system, and your detox system. Turmeric took the bad effects of this chemical completely away. The animal models were immune to the toxic effects only when they consumed turmeric. Last, we look at vitamin D. That tends to be depleted with chronic inflammation. We can get more sun on our skin, but if your thyroid is inflammatory, like most people, you're going to want to supplement therapeutic doses and watch your labs. Okay, action steps. Organic snacks and soaps so you're not activating your immune system and creating low-grade inflammation. Get your fats right so you're not making inflammatory prostaglandins. I take fish oils to supplement, which makes it a whole lot easier to not overdo the grains and the corn. Add ginger, turmeric, and garlic to actively reduce and manage inflammation. So do you agree? How the body works is pretty logical. Of course that's how it works. It just makes sense. Inflammation has to be reduced. Keep going until C-reactive protein is below 1. Then work on stress. Stress is our next training. And then energy production. Thrive. And all the while we're watching the immune branches of the military and inflammation markers. This is how you take care of inflammation, with the help of a good herbalist if you need, to specifically support immune elimination. I got it right pretty often, so I think I qualify. All right, we'll see you tomorrow for stress. I promise real practical resources to help. See you then.